Today we have a battle royale for you guys. It is Littleton versus Centennial. Which one is the better place to live? We're gonna break it down right now. Guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Tim Campman, your host for Everything Denver, Colorado, where we break down everything real estate related around the Denver metro area, where the best places and the best neighborhoods are to live. So if you're thinking of a move out here, hit me up, call, text, or email. I got your back on all things Denver real estate. I have people reaching out all the time, asking questions about different areas and thinking of making a move to Colorado. So don't be afraid, call, text, or email. We'll get you set up for success on your move to Denver. So starting off, we're breaking down Littleton and Centennial. I've done videos on each and pros and cons of each one individually, but today they're gonna go head to head. We're gonna decide which one is the best place to live. And we have different factors like schools, neighborhoods, community feel, commutability, and we're gonna break down a lot of that right now. So starting off, which one is better if you need to commute to Denver for work? So to start off, Littleton and Centennial, both are on the south end of Denver. If you take a look at the map here, Littleton is gonna be kind of that western, southwestern corridor where you see the C470 loop that wraps around all the way through Santa Fe, Broadway, kind of the main thoroughfares on the eastern border. And then Centennial begins right after Broadway to the east. And Centennial will run all the way from Broadway to just past I-25 before you get into like southeast Aurora and Lone Tree area. So both of these have pretty easy commutes up into Denver, but I would give the edge to Centennial in this regard because you do have more options to get up to the north end of town. A lot of people that choose Centennial and Littleton choose so because they're great neighborhoods to live in and to raise a family in. Both have good, strong family environments, but a lot of people do have to commute for work, whether that's up to Denver or maybe the Denver Tech Center. And if you live in Centennial, you're gonna have a really quick commute to that Denver area and to the Denver Tech Center. A lot of Centennial actually kind of either is right intertwined with the Denver Tech Center, which is a large corporate hub kind of on the south end of Denver. And there's also a lot of other government jobs and government employment opportunities around here. Everything from the Arapahoe County to other municipal areas or townships that you may choose to work in. The federal government is the largest employer here in Colorado. So if you do live in Centennial, you'll have a pretty good commute no matter where you are living in Centennial. Littleton, you do have pretty good commutability up into like the Denver area and to everything on the western side of Denver, including that C470 freeway that runs along the outskirts of Denver. You also have Santa Fe, or Highway 85 as it's known, that goes up into Denver. That's also a good avenue to get up north. Santa Fe does tend to get a little bit more crowded and bottlenecked in different areas. So generally I have found that commuting on I-25 is generally a little bit quicker than Santa Fe, but it's also one of the most popular freeways throughout Denver. So, you know, if you're finding that you're getting stuck in traffic a lot in one, you may try to use the other, but Centennial also has a lot of other north and south thoroughfares to get up into the Denver area as well. So Centennial, ring the bell for commutability. They win that category. Second, we're gonna break down neighborhoods, and this one is, we're gonna divide it into a couple different aspects. Centennial, while it does have its own name, it's not technically its own town or city. They still utilize the Arapahoe County Sheriff's Department for their police force, and while they do offer some of the aspects of a municipality, Littleton, on the other hand, is a full-blown municipality having its own police force and all of its city municipal services. So you do have a little bit maybe more of a community feel in the Littleton side of it than you do in Centennial. And as a result, I think that the neighborhoods in Littleton are just a little bit better than the ones in Centennial. As far as diversity of neighborhoods and different style of home choices, you're gonna find a lot of variety in both areas. So as far as Littleton goes, if you're in that old town Littleton area, that's kind of the historic downtown Littleton and those surrounding neighborhoods, you're gonna find a lot of variety in the terms of 100-year-old homes, as well as some of the scrapes and new construction where you're gonna have a lot of modern vibes to it. And then if you move further to the west, you're gonna find a lot of neighborhoods and things that were built in the 70s and 80s. And so you have a lot of that style of home, the bi-levels and tri-levels and ranch style homes. And then if you go even further to the west, you'll find homes that were built in the 90s and early 2000s. So Littleton really has a lot of different variety when it comes to the style of neighborhoods and style and age of homes. Most of the neighborhoods in all of these communities are going to be very established and very new, with the exception of going south into the Sterling Ranch neighborhood. Now, this one does come with a caveat that it is technically a Littleton address, but if you get into the Sterling Ranch neighborhood, you're going to feel a lot more like Highlands Ranch than you do Littleton. It just kind kind of has that vibe of a master planned community and a lot more cookie cutter style homes. Whereas if you're further north on that area of Littleton, you're going to find a lot more uniqueness and charm. Now, crossing over onto the east side in Centennial, you're going to find a lot of homes that were built in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Not as much new construction options available. There is some maybe on the very outskirts where you're blending into, say, Southeast Aurora or some of the areas of northern Parker. But for the most part, a lot of the homes in the Centennial area are going to be a little bit older. As a result, the home prices are a touch more affordable in Centennial versus Littleton. Now, this can vary a lot, and a lot of factors play into the affordability, such as like tax rates and the mill levies for schools, which we'll get into in a little bit. But home prices in Centennial are generally, 2 to 3% cheaper than they are in Littleton on average. But I do give the edge to Littleton as far as better neighborhoods when you account for all the things like community feel, safety rankings, and all those things. Littleton, ring the bell, gets the edge on neighborhoods. All right, next we're going to talk about Parks and Rec. So Littleton and Centennial both have a lot of trails, a lot of parks, a lot of local playgrounds and opportunities to get out and enjoy the great outdoors. I will give the edge to Littleton on this one as well because they just have a little bit more variety in the Parks and Rec as well. So not only do you have a lot of trails throughout Littleton, but you also kind of butt up against the foothills, so you're going to have more opportunities to get not only some hiking and biking on the flat areas like you do in Centennial, but also some mountain biking and hiking in some of the foothills of Littleton and before you get into more of the high country. Both cities, do lay claim to like their own reservoir. While Cherry Creek State Park might have an Aurora address, it's close enough that I'll throw it in as a plus for the Centennial area. So if you're into water sports, water skiing, wakeboarding, or camping, both towns have that option. Chatfield Reservoir for the Littleton side is one of the most popular local parks, recs, and reservoirs that is available and right outside the back door in Littleton. Cherry Creek State Park and Reservoir, another very popular one, is right outside of Centennial in the Aurora area. Centennial also does have a lot of trails like the Cherry Creek Trail that'll ride all the way up into Denver and all the way south down into Parker area. But as far as parks, recs, and things to do on the outdoor living aspects, I would give the edge to Littleton because there is just more. There's over 1,100 acres of open space and different parks and recs to experience, and you have the mountains as a nice backdrop and more opportunity to get up into the mountains in the city of Littleton versus Centennial. So ring the bell for Littleton on Parks and Rec. Next, we're going to get into bars, restaurants, and things to do in Littleton versus Centennial. So while both of these communities have a little bit more of a bedroom and suburban feel to them, I will give the edge to Centennial in this respect that there are more options available for nightlife, bars, restaurants. Since you are very close to the tech center, you're also going to have more opportunities and more options for high-end dining. Places like Shanahan's and Opus and some of the other Ocean Prime is another very popular one where you have a little bit more higher scale, more elegant dining options than you do in Littleton. Now, Littleton is not without its own unique charm and its own bars and restaurants. One of the most popular of all is the downtown Littleton area where you have the historic Main Street. A lot of bars and restaurants in that area, very popular, but you just have a few more options in the Centennial area. Centennial also has its own Topgolf, so you have that as a thing to do. Outings with friends and family. It's even great for kids if you want to take them out, get them exposed to the game of golf a little bit, but they're not ready for a full-blown golfing experience. And you do have a few more things to do in respect just amenities and local things to do. So in terms of options, dining, bars, and just nightlife and things to do, whether that's arcades, bowling alleys, just different things to go out and hang out and have a good time, I'll give the edge to Centennial. Ring the bell on things to do. Next, we have schools. Now, this is going to be a very close battle when it comes to schools, Littleton versus Centennial. So if you are in the town of Littleton, kind of this incorporated area with the municipality, you're going to have Littleton Public Schools as the primary school of choice, which is one of the very highly rated ones in the Denver metro area as a whole. In Centennial, you're going to get the Cherry Creek Public Schools, which I am sure if you follow my channel, you've heard that there are one of the highest rated as well. And when it comes down to it, Cherry Creek schools get a little bit higher of a rating than Littleton Public Schools. And the reason I'll give it overall to Centennial is because if you move further to the west in Littleton, out of the incorporated area of Littleton and into the unincorporated area that's further to the west, you're going to get into the Jefferson County School District. And while it's still got fairly good ratings, they're not as high as Littleton or the Cherry Creek area. So Centennial as a whole gets the nod for school choice and ratings of school district. So if you're looking for the best of the best when it comes to school districts, I would say Cherry Creek is kind of the cream of the crop, although although Littleton and Littleton Public Schools is going to be very highly rated as well. So ring the bell for Centennial on schools. Now we're going to talk about home prices and other costs of living. Now I had mentioned earlier that Littleton does have higher home prices as far as the median home price goes. Right now that's about $627,000, and slightly less in the Centennial area. You're looking right around $605,000 for the median home price. So there's not a huge wide gap that it's going to make a significant difference one way or the other. There are pockets of each where you can find more affordable options, and there are definitely neighborhoods on each where you're going to have much higher home prices into that $900,000 or $1 million plus range as well. But as a whole, Littleton is going to be a touch more expensive when it comes to overall home prices, but if you're in that Jefferson County area to the west side of the incorporated part of Littleton, your property taxes are a touch lower. So that may make up for any of the higher home prices. Because remember, when you purchase a home, you need not only be focused on your principal and interest payments, you also need to take into account the insurance and the property taxes in your overall mortgage payment. So while Littleton does have a little bit higher home prices, I have seen that places in Centennial generally have a little bit higher property taxes, and that can kind of cancel out any type of savings that you have as far as reduction in the home price. And this is because of different mill levies or special taxing districts that we have in Colorado. And we won't get into all the nitty-gritty of it because I'm sure you guys don't want an entire math lesson with all these numbers and mumbo jumbo, but considering the property tax balances out some of the home prices, I would say home prices are about equal across the board. Neither side wins on this. There's not a substantial difference either way. The only loser in this home prices equation that I would say is that small area of Sterling Ranch that is a little bit on the south end of Littleton. Really, it's going to feel more like Highlands Ranch, but they have significantly higher property taxes because it is a brand new development. There's a lot of mill levies that are happening there, and so they're paying for all the infrastructure that's going in, the roads, the sewers, and things like that. So your property taxes in that area, since it is newer and it is Douglas County, are going to be higher than the other two. So that's the only loser in this equation, but Littleton and Centennial, they get a draw on home prices and affordability. All right, next we're going to go to community feel. Which one just has more things for the community to engage with, whether that be farmers markets or things to do on the weekends or special events the city puts on. And in this category, I'd give the edge to Littleton. Littleton is just a little bit more of a community feel, especially if you're in that incorporated area. The city puts on a lot of events through the year, not only like the Western Welcome Week parade that kind of welcomes the Arapahoe County Fair into town, but there's other events throughout the year like the Criterion Bike Race, where they close down the downtown main streets so that there can be a road bike race that brings out a lot of people. And then you also have your street vendors and a street fair, and there's also farmers markets throughout Littleton and the Aspen Grove area nearly every weekend during the summer. So there's a lot more of a community feel in that respect for the city of Littleton and the things that happen within it. In Centennial, you also have some options like that. You do have like the Streets at South Glen, which is kind of more of a local shopping area, and they will have events throughout the year like a trick-or-treat street or farmers markets on the weekends as well. But as far as community feel, things to do, and community involvement, I would give the edge to Littleton. Ring the bell. So which one is better, Littleton or Centennial? Both options are great options if you're choosing to live in the South Denver metro area. Now this does come with a grain of salt because I did used to live in one of these communities, and I would give the edge to Littleton, having lived there and worked there for a significant amount of time. I do feel like this was a great community to not only move to and start out our life as I did many years ago, but it's a great community also to raise a family in. You have good school options, you have a lot of community events and things to do, and you have a lot of outdoor recreation to enjoy all across the board. And not to say that Centennial doesn't have those things, I just think Littleton has a few more of those opportunities and options, and I would give it a slight edge on places to live in the South Denver metro area. Both options would be great for you, and if you'd like more information on either of these or some of the other amazing suburbs that we have around the South Denver metro area and beyond, I'd be happy to jump on a call with you and help you sort out all the different pros and cons of each unique city and suburb of Denver. So until next time, guys, please be sure to like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit me up when you are thinking of your move to Denver.